It's not every day you start the adventure of a lifetime. Alrighty, what is going on, everybody? So, this is going to be the first episode of my live commentary on my Great Escape, which is my kayaking adventure down the Mississippi River. In 2019, I set off from Lake Itasca in northern Minnesota and landed in the Gulf of Mexico 62 days later. I made an entire video series of the adventure, and many people have come and watch the series, and of course I have been flooded with questions since then. Questions of all different kinds, from camping to food to the trip, just day-to-day living on the river. And so I figured that it would be kind of neat to do a kind of a live commentary of what it was like to be out there, and maybe talk about some of the things that didn't make it into the video. So we'll see how the streams do. This is, like I said, the first one, so basically just going to play through the videos and make comments as we go. Feel free to ask any questions you might have. I got the chat open. There's about a 7-second delay on it, so it might take me a moment to reply to you, but nonetheless, we're going to take off from Lake Itasca. Here we go. June 1st, we are heading to get coffee and warm up because we're freezing. Woke up at 46 degrees this morning, but it wasn't too bad. So, met a couple other paddlers already. Said hi to them, wish them best. Have no doubt we'll see them out there. So, but here we go. Going to get coffee, warm up, and the trip begins. So one thing that's really cool about this, I didn't make the video, but Daryl and Jonathan, so if you actually watch the series, you know Daryl and Jonathan left the same day I did. They were a few hours behind me. They were actually camped at a campsite just about a few hundred feet from where I was, and they actually got on Facebook and messaged me and told me they were there. And so before we took off, we swung over and said hi to them and met them. All they had with them was their canoe and their gear. There was no vehicle, no nothing, so they had to make the walk all the way over to the headwaters on foot. I really envy those who are dropped off at the headwaters, and they're on their own from that moment out. I had a lot of support with my wife, who was able to be up there with me for a few days, had the vehicle, and I could resupply if I needed to. But yeah, it was cool to meet them right off the bat. Hello everyone, and welcome to launch day of my Mississippi River trip. 2 years ago, I had the idea that I wanted to paddle the mighty Mississippi, and this is the day it begins. In an effort to make this first episode on the water, I wanted to show what the first 16 miles of the river can be like, so this video is dedicated to day one. Some years the river is less challenging than others, but this is a good example of what it can be like. Thanks for watching, and enjoy the ride. So if you've never been up to Lake Itasca and the headwaters, it is absolutely beautiful up there. The water is crystal clear. It's a forest, so it's just a solid tree-lined shoreline. Real nice up there, and even for as busy as it is, they do a really good job maintaining the park. Alright, It's not every day you start the adventure of a lifetime. This is a little walking bridge. It's just not even 50 feet from the headwaters, and you got to get out right away and go around it. But just this clear little stream in the beginning is really cool. Very shallow. You drag bottom pretty much the whole way through right here, and this is why I brought my smaller 10-foot little Pelican kayak, was to take all that abuse. And one thing that's important to know too, when you leave this area here, boom, your cell phone reception is gone, and it will be gone for the next couple days. So that's just something to remember. As soon as you leave the park, you're going to lose your cell phone service. 9:15 now. Yeah, I had to use different kayaks on the trip, but I don't even know. It would have just totally tore up my boat if I had used the nicer ones on the early parts of the river. Anyway, it's going good. It's a little bit of a breeze, no big deal. Paddling a Pelican kayak, so it's not like I'm not already working hard. There's some shallows, some deep spots, just like last year. I'm still getting ready to eat a beef stick and a cheese stick because I am starving. Starving. I don't eat in the morning ever. I'm just not a morning eater. So, of course, I don't wake up in the morning and typically go paddling. So. Looks like we got our first obstruction on the river. This one was near last year, Beaver Dam. Looks like. Yeah, so every year there's going to be new obstructions on the early part of the river. They do maintain it. Someone comes out and cuts trees and stuff. And this Beaver Dam was actually, so in 2018 I did a quick trip down the headwaters, and there was no Beaver Dam here, so it was kind of neat to see that just in the 1 year that I had been gone, they had built a new one, and water was flowing around it, so I just went right through the little side channel that it made, and yeah, it's pretty neat. Every year it seems like there's a new Beaver Dam out there. Thanks, Paddle Camp. I had a lot of fun making them, and I miss being out there. I really do. It was a really good time. So appreciate you checking them out. I'm glad that I could film and make the series as enjoyable as so many people have told me it was, or is. You know, I didn't really know what I was going to make out of these videos, and so to have so many people come by and say how much they really liked them, it meant a lot. In the upper river, and curious which way the water's flowing. Check out the weeds on the bottom. They all point down river. It's kind of a neat little helpful thing you can do if you aren't quite sure what the channel's doing. And man, enjoy that clear water. I think one of the tendencies of people in the first stretch of the river is to kind of rush it. You don't know how long it takes you to get places, and so you're in a hurry to kind of get to the first campsite. I tell you, take your time and enjoy it out there. It is so quiet and so peaceful. There's just so much healthy looking life out there. The plants look amazing. The animals look great. You know, so enjoy your first 16 miles of the river, because this part of the river is so unique that you just don't see it again after this. so just take that time to enjoy it. I may never know what it looks like, but I do know that that's where it is. That's Wanigan Campsite. It's about 5 miles down from Lake Itasca. Back at Beaver Dam, we made it. So last year when I was here, I pulled up and held on to these logs. And so that'll give you an idea of just how deep the water is right now. Flowing really good, looks really good, pretty sight. Definitely pulling out to go around this guy, so yeah, looks good. This is the upper river shot. I'll take some pictures from below. All right. So there's a little bit of a bank there to climb out, but it's just kind of a cool old, I think it was a logging dam at one point, and it ain't much now, but some rapids and kind of a bit of a drop down to the other side there. There's easy portage if you don't got nothing. That's another reason I like taking this boat is when it's empty, I just pull it out, throw it on my shoulder, walk around the rocks here. Nothing to it. If you had portage wheels, it would be a little more difficult just because of these boulders that are in the way. But yeah, first dam on the river. Pretty easy one, not much to it. So literally it takes you a minute to walk this thing. Pretty easy. Say that's new. I tried to remember, but I think in 2018, I don't think I had any trees that were blocking my path on the river. And this year was quite different. There was like 4 or 5 I had to deal with. 2 I cut through. 1 was real low, but I made it under. And then 1 I actually had to get out and portage around because it was just off the water. And I couldn't go under or over it, so I had to actually go around. Yeah, it's shallow, alright. It's real shallow. Some people take down really nice boats, and man, the most damage you're going to do to that boat on any given day is going to be on day 1. Some people take their composite boats, but they make it. I mean, it's incredible. You know, it just all depends on how you handle it. You know, some people, I've seen pictures of canoes folded up around rocks, and you know, it's just, it all depends on just how good you are at navigating the river and being careful. But yeah, there's people out there that make it in the most fragile boats, and then you got some of the most robust boats that don't make it. So that's what's so great about these little Pelican kayaks. I mean, they can take the abuse, and they're so lightweight. You can maneuver them and manipulate them any way you need to. But yeah, super shallow. Well, no worries. Cut my way through. Making my own road. Sorry if the footage sucks. I just went through a tree. I tell you, the hardest part about filming in the Pelican kayak is the camera is so far out of my reach. I had to slide all the way up to reach it, but made it work. trimming. So a big part too of my wanting to cut paths through these trees is knowing that Daryl and Jonathan were behind me in a canoe, or they would be at least. I thought it'd be nice of me to use the saw, cut them a little path, kind of make it easier on them. So I brought a super bushcraft saw, like a steel or a scavarda. Boom! Glad I brought this. Beaver Dam. So last year, this thing was actually considerably above water. Just kind of go around it to the right, but this year, I'm just gonna do that. So in 2018, when I came down this stretch of river, I had storms chasing behind me. And I went into, I couldn't check my phone for the weather because there was no service out there. And I knew that this bridge was going to be here just from looking at maps earlier. And I hid under this bridge for probably about an hour while it just downpoured. I had lightning and thunder just like crazy. It was a godsend coming across this little tunnel here. And yeah, just hanging out on that one side there, I was able to step onto the mud, pull the boat out, and I just sat there and watched the weather pass. But it does work. Another beaver dam. Boy, they do a lot of work in a year. See, this is why I have a Pelican kayak, because it's so much easier just for me to plow right over things, drag my way over, you know, than to have to get out and try to go around this stuff. I knew that stuff like this was going to be here, which is why I started with this small boat. Plenty of trees to get in your face. A lot of these areas get really narrow, real shallow. But it's a good time. I found someone had dumped their gear back in here. So they like came out of this tunnel that's coming up, and I think they like went sideways, tipped over, and all their gear went downriver. I found sleeping bags, tents, food stuff, I mean just all kinds of stuff. It was just heartbreaking to think that someone was barely into day one and they flipped over and lost everything. I actually still have the tent. That was the only thing I was able to carry because everything was soaking wet. When I put the tent in the kayak, it almost flipped me over because it was so heavy. But yeah, you gotta be careful for sure. Looky, a tree I don't gotta cut. No problem, cuz. Welcome. Well, last year I went left and had a good trip. Why mess with success? I kind of feel like I gotta go back now and go down that right side. I have to do the whole river all over again just so I can go down that way. Thanks, cuz. I know you're one of my biggest fans out there. We'll get you out on one of these rivers.
After this bridge and some more time in the wetlands, you will finally make Coffee Pot Landing.
You will spend probably a good hour or two after that bridge, and then you'll finally make the first, well, I call it the first, it's actually the second campsite, which is Coffee Pot Landing. Many, many people have stopped at this spot. So obviously this is using the drone. You can see just how much that river snakes around.
The paddlers I said hi to,
it really is incredible.
Just a couple hours behind me.
And the drone really got just the best shots. Daryl and Jonathan, that's them behind me. They're a couple hours back. But yeah, it was just a really cool shot with the drone. Cool to see it like that.
Coffee Pot Landing is a great.
And there is just nothing around forever. I mean, you are out in the middle of nowhere.
Jonathan continued on. That's going to do it for episode 1. I really hope you enjoyed it. This journey has just barely begun, so please check out the next video. Take care, and I'll see you on the next one.
So yeah, that's episode 1. It really is a great first day. It really does kind of just throw you into it. You know, there's almost no way to call for help if you need it, so make sure you just take it easy. But real cool stretch of the river, and like I said, it's unlike anything you're gonna see the rest of the way. Day 1 is truly unique. There's so much excitement, so much anticipation for the trip. There's just it's a very emotional day. You're pretty much wore out before you even start, and I think that day 1 really is probably the most special, although you'll forget a lot about it right away because every day is going to offer something new. One thing that people, you know, I like to tell people too, and I was told, is that the river actually trains you as you go. You know, starts out as this nice small little stream, and then as you know, as the river grows, you grow with it, and it almost is like it trains you for the next step every turn of the river, and it's really a cool thing. So let's see. Yeah, so I don't know. I think that I'll stick to like a 6 p.m. every Friday. We'll try to get through these series, and we'll just do an episode a week, and people can feel free to ask questions or anything. Of course, anybody who knows me knows that I'll sit there and answer your questions all day long. So, yeah, I mean, even if you're not doing the river in its entirety, you know, doing the headwaters is a really cool experience. And being at Lake Itasca is a really neat thing too. Even just beyond the river, I mean, I like to go up there and camp and hike it. I love being up in that area. So, but yeah, no, I appreciate any of the views or the looks. Anybody coming out and saying hi, and you know, hopefully we can make this series a weekly thing and kind of get through winter doing it, because I don't really have a lot planned for winter. So it's nice to have something to do in the meantime. So aside from that, we'll catch you guys on the next